SBM Live, subscribe, we speaking boxing. SBM Live, subscribe, we speaking boxing. SBM Live, subscribe, we speaking boxing. Kenneth, yo, let's be speaking boxing. SBM Live, subscribe, we speaking boxing.
Go on, Djinji.
Yo, what's up, Kenneth? Here I am again. Back
This guy's the hardest person to set aside to try to get an interview. He's more busier than Obama nowadays.
Well, you know, teaching the class and showing someone a jab cross is the fun part. Running the business aspect of it is like doing the road work for a fighter. Most fighters probably hate road work, but after a while they know that it's an indispensable part of their training program. And so me being behind the desk, taking care of business, entering people's names, staying on top of my members.
So a little while ago, you sounded like a chemist talking about the atoms and molecules and the density of a band expanding. What? I don't even know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. In the course of the day, my mind is.
You had your kid out there; his eyes are crossing.
It goes into a whole bunch of different, hats I gotta wear, and honestly, when I get home, I'm just like blah. But all that being said, this is a great opportunity for me, and I'm proud to say that I'm 45, going on 46 in boxing, learning to be a boxing coach, training to be a good boxing coach, studying it, and running the business is probably one of the most humbling experiences outside of being a father that I've ever had in my life. And it took me until I just told this man out there, a professional boxer from Miami, I said, man, it takes you however long it takes you to find your groove, Some of us don't find it in our 20s. Some of us do. Some of us, your path, it takes you through a maze. It's not a straight line. And, all that being said, a lot of boxers actually go through that as well. They have different trainers they train with during a certain period of time. They click and connect on a physical level, on a psychological level, on an emotional level. And then maybe that relationship, it either plateaus or it values.
On that note, you think Teddy Atlas is giving Timothy Bradley its groove, or is Pacquiao losing his groove?
You know what? I think that's exactly what I want to say. Teddy Atlas is one of the more colorful, verbally colorful analysts on the planet. Some people love him, some people hate him, but I love the fact that he doesn't give you a gray area. You love him or you hate him. I love Teddy. Even when I don't agree with him, I always learn from him. And there's very few times I don't agree with him. I think that the difference in this fight is not so much on a physical level. I think it's all psychological and emotional at this point. Teddy Atlas is probably one of the best teachers in the game. And a good teacher has to be a good psychologist, because in order for the lessons to be learned, you got to get into the mind of your fighter. There's a lot of coaches and trainers that just take a fighter through a series of physical movements, but Teddy gets into your mind. And I think that he's gotten into Tim Bradley's mind and given Tim Bradley a sense of rejuvenation. The same way that Freddie Roach did with Miguel Cotto prior to the Canelo fight.
Right.
He rejuvenated him at what some might say is the end, or he's already been on the path for a while. A good teacher, a good trainer, just a new relationship can rejuvenate a fighter on an emotional level and a psychological level, which can fuel him or her to get past that plateau that they're at. So, Manny Pacquiao, I think, is on the other side of that coin. I think emotionally he's tired. I think psychologically he's drained and split between different responsibilities. He's a politician in the Philippines. He's a boxing star in America. He's this, he's that, he's the next thing. And in all honesty, I think that last fight with Floyd Mayweather did him more harm than it did good, because Manny was the kind of guy who would go in, fight a Marquez, fight a Morales, fight all these dudes, these tough Mexican cats, come out bloody and not make an excuse. And the fact that he made an excuse for a lackluster performance, I think did him a lot of harm in the U.S. boxing.
So you don't think there was an injury there against the Mayweather fight?
I do not, and I'm going to tell you why. I've suffered a torn rotator cuff on my right arm. So even during sparring sometimes I have to be very wary of how I throw my right hand, okay? I can't throw it if I'm out of range. I got to jab my way in, slip my way in, make sure I'm on the right angle to throw my right hand. If it's not there, I can't afford to throw it into midair. A guy like Floyd Mayweather can make a missile miss. That's just, that's just the way it is. You don't have to like it. But the man can make you miss. He can neutralize your game. All that being said, Manny's power was never really in his jab or his hooks. It was in his left hand, his power shot. So when one hand doesn't work, what you do is you use the other one. Okay? And what used to set up Manny's left hand was his angular footwork. He'd step off from a 45-degree angle, throw that left hand up the middle, dang, and catch you all the time. So his jab hand wasn't working, but where was his footwork? Where was his footwork? It got neutralized by Mayweather's superior footwork and understanding the range. And every time Manny went to throw that left hand, he caught a counter right hand from the master. Like it or not, it froze him in his tracks to the point where he said, you know what? I don't want to do shit. I don't think he had a problem with his shoulder because I've had a problem with my shoulder for years. And I'm telling you, all this, when you've got an issue with the anterior stability of your shoulder, which is where most boxers dislocate in the anterior portion of their shoulder blade, of their shoulder girdle, on this side, not the back, on this side. You can't throw those punches so fast and hard. And he's doing all that YouTube stuff. So I don't believe that Manny Pacquiao had a torn. You know who had a bad right shoulder for years and went undefeated? Andre Ward. His left hand was deadly. If you look at Andre Ward, you'll see an incision right there because he just had shoulder surgery. And now he's better than he ever was. But he was still undefeated with his left hand. So, you mean to tell me after all these years, Manny couldn't even switch up for a second, go over the
You remember the Berto versus Soto Cross fight? Berto just used one hand.
And I don't remember that fight, but I remember Mickey Ward, Arturo Gotti won. Gotti throws a right body hook, hits him on the he hits him on the hip, breaks his hand. In round 4, finishes the fight, jabs and hooks. Starts to throw the right hand after round 6 or 7, a little bit just for placement, and adrenaline is running, but he broke his hand. So there's been fighters who have broken their hands, who have actually dislocated shoulders during a fight, where you see the shoulder come out, and they still continue. No, I don't think Manny had a problem with his shoulder.
So do you think coming into this fight, Manny Pacquiao, psychologically, he shot?
I think Manny Pacquiao does not have the psychological edge. I think that Tim Bradley has the psychological edge because he feels rejuvenated. How can you not working with a man like Teddy Atlas?